I remember when I started this channel back, 2 years ago now, ish, maybe a bit more than that, 2.5, 2 years ago. And I remember when there's actually a special announcement about this when I reach 100,000 subs, not too far away. And I remember when I started this, and so many people took the piss. It was just relentless. So many people, one or two in particular, they'll be getting a special mention when I get to 100,000. But yeah, a load of people took the piss out of it. Well, I tell you what, in this current climate, I'm glad I stuck with it, because that's, you know, I'm properly glad I stuck with it. I'm glad I didn't drop it. Fuck is my hammer? There it is. No. Countless fingers have been bruised by doing this. I'm going for this safe contractor approval. Let me tell you, what a hassle. I understand why small companies, they just don't want to get involved in it, because it's just auditing, and it's legwork, and it really is such a headache. Sarah and me have been doing that every day, honestly, 5 days a week. She's been dealing with that, honestly, I'd say for almost 2 months now. No, 6 weeks. But it's just, this is a copy of an email they sent me. Thank you for submitting all of your documentation up to now. As your dedicated auditor, yeah, right, it's my job to get you accredited as quickly as possible, whatever. In order for me to do this, I need you to provide me with some more documentation. Get this, right? Can you please provide me with a RAMS specific document for solar PV? Please provide further evidence to demonstrate your safe working at height procedures for using ladders. Do you use fixed scaffolding? If you do, please provide further evidence that the scaffolding will be erected by a competent holder. The scaffold's on it just goes on. Please provide further evidence to demonstrate your working at height procedure when working on rooftops. If you use cherry pickers or mupes, which we will be shortly. I understand the need for all of this, but for small companies it's just headache. So yeah, what I wanted to actually talk about was this. So once you've bashed the rod in, what you can do, you'll always get this mushroom on the top. Now you can take a grinder with a metal blade in it, and you can actually just cut it off if you want a clean finish. I actually choose to leave that there for the simple reason it stops this clamp coming off. If this ever works loose for whatever reason, it might not look completely aesthetically pleasing, but I actually tend to leave it on there deliberately for that, just so that this can't come off. But the main thing I wanted to talk about was this. These bolts, right, that come with these clamps. I've said this before in previous videos, and it's something I think is worth just stressing again, because if you are fitting these, I would always recommend this brass bolt, take that and bin it, right? And go and put a stainless steel bolt like this one. Reason I say that is because these bolts here, when you put with these ones that come factory fitted to these clamps, on numerous jobs I've had it where I've fitted earth rods, you come back in 6 months time or 12 months or however long, and that bolt has literally, right there in the middle where the pressure point is, it's just sheared clean off. And the bolt is just lying in two, and more importantly than that, the earth wire that's connected to it is then just dangling in the air like this. Bin those and get a stainless steel bolt like that with the spring washers, and that sort of setup there is what you want. Some people will argue that when you swap the bolts over and you go from brass to stainless steel like this, you'll end up getting what's called a cross metal corrosion, where you've got two, like this, where you've got two dissimilar metals and you'll end up getting corrosion. There is validity to that argument, I admit. In my eyes, I'd rather know, even if there was some corrosion on it, I'd rather know that earth cable was actually connected to the rod. And you can put like a copper slip on it, or some anti-corrosion compound. You can put it on top of you can cover the bolt in it afterwards to try to help reduce it. But I just think that's really worth mentioning. If you get these ones, bin them and just use a stainless steel bolt like that, because it really does make a difference. I quoted $1,150 plus VAT to do this, and that was to run this armoured, 6mm armoured, down the side of the house, down to the summer house, earth rod, and then to do the electrics in the office. That was 1150 plus VAT. Just in materials for this was, I spent 170 at City Electrical the other day, and then I spent another 150, so that was nearly 300 quid in bits. It's amazing how fast it adds up. You just don't think about it. Funnily enough, actually, that job, that school, which I did that that quote for the other day, a lot of you were more or less on the money, 5-6 grand, somewhere in that region I think is about right. And most of you are pretty much on the money with that. This is now the carnage I have to clear up. Let's have a little hoover up. Nom 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 nom. Nom 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 nom. Nom 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 nom. I don't know, it depends in what order this content goes out in. I'm not actually sure, but I don't know if you've seen the checker plate on the van yet. I thought it'd be a good idea to checker plate this floor here, just because I've just got a thing for checker plate. It's shiny and it's just, there's something about it I just really like. But yeah, there was actually a video of me doing this. I'm not sure if that's, depends what order it goes out in, but that was the end result. But I like it. I think it's, it's smart. Right, I've just nipped in to the city because I just want to have a quick, while I'm running around today, I'm doing errands all day today, and I just thought while I'm running around just doing those bits, I was going to pop into this job here that you saw over in Moorgate down in the city. I just want to pop in and just see, because I haven't been in since I locked up last time. In fact, I'll leave a link for the video here. Since I locked up, I've actually not been back here, so I just wanted to pop in and just see what they're up to, if anything's happened there. I don't know if anything's changed. As if fuck. They put the laminate on the work surface, so that was going to be like the kitchen servery area. It looks quite nice actually. But actually the main reason I wanted to pick these ladders up, because I need those for a job today. Yeah, that is smart. That looks properly slick. This is secondary. That's obviously the primary thing. People are going to walk in, they're going to go, fuck, look at that. Check that out, Deirdre. Look at that tray. She's going to go, Harold, you're sad. I'll show you the bar downstairs because it looks quite cool. So that's it there. So this is where people will be like, so that's the plan. I think this is going to be like the drinky poos area down here. Ah, and the DJ cutoff switch. Yeah, there's going to be, I was talking about this DJ cutoff switch, which has got to go there. All I was going to have was, well, I'll show you, but I was going to have a pair of sockets to a contactor, which is normally closed, and just when the fire alarm sounds, it energizes, it opens it, and it shuts off the power. There were some people saying that, that's a bad way to do it because it could hurt the DJ's equipment. Well, all right, I get it, but I mean, I doubt it's going to kill their equipment just by unplugging it, And also, I mean, there were people who were then saying, but they can use the microphone to announce it to the whole audience. Well, it's only a small room, I get it. If it was like a really big place, it would make sense to keep the microphone live to let everybody know, but I'm not being funny. It's this area here. So I don't really think having the microphone live is strictly necessary. See you in, I don't know, 6 months? Fuck you, coronavirus. All right, ladders loaded. Okay. Right, okay. Just a fleeting visit. I just wanted to check in and just have a look and see what was going on there, because I left all my tools there. I don't like leaving my tools on site. You worry the site's going to get broken into, because crime's going to go up. That's the other thing. Okay, all right, now that's done. On to the next job. You may well have seen this. This was an Amnesty store we did a couple of months back. I'll leave a link for it actually up in the description up here now. I'll leave a link for it and you can watch that one. But this was a store we did a couple of months back where we fitted, we did a whole host of work here, putting the disabled nurse call alarm in and all that sort of stuff. We've got to take these downlights out and just pop some nice sort of brassy style pendants in. So they very kindly shut the store for us early so we can get in and change them over, because it's a bit, it's a little bit difficult doing this when there's Mrs. Jones at your feet reading a book and the pendant. In fact, I'll show you a pendant now, 2 seconds. Because we've got to try and get a fixing where there's a bloody great big hole. What we're going to do, that's our base, and we're going to use these toggle fixings. These are really good if you're doing stuff where, especially on plasterboard, where you just need a nice strong fixing in what's a relatively weak substrate. It's a really good way of doing it. But yeah, if you don't keep these on your van, honestly, keep them. They're really, really good. You just push them up through make a hole in the plasterboard, push them up through, and when they eject out the other side, they basically do that, and then you can't pull them out again. So that's basically how it is there. It's just we've left the gap behind, and you've got a pair of toggle fixings either side like that. And then you just mount this piece straight onto that, and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, sort of thing. Before I forget, actually, these are the lamps which the customer has asked us to put in. Lamps, bulbs, whatever you want to call them. These style ones. They are nice, I do like them. And she's got all sorts of funky shaped ones. I like them, I think they're nice. I don't know how bright they are. I think these are more of a decorative finish, to be honest, but give us 5 minutes and I'll put these up and then we can, we'll have a look at them. But I do like the style of them. I dread to think how much they were.
Okay, thanks very much. Thank you. Bye.
Just sort of telling you what was going to happen. Yeah, the amount of people, you put a closed sign on the door, no one listens to it. They just knock until you answer the door. You're not really doing the whole monotone singing yet, are you? No. I haven't got you into that yet.
One day you won't realise and I'll just be doing it.
You will. You'll start doing it and it will just stick. You'll never go back to normal singing again. That's the great thing about singing monotone, because you can't f*** it up. And when you say it, no one questions it, you know? Don't break my heart. You know, no one questions it. It's all right. Yeah, kills karaoke a bit, mine, but yeah, it does kill karaoke a bit, but a bit of Ken and Dolly. I'm Dolly. Is it brighter? That is the question. I've got a feeling that's a bit too golden, that light.
I must admit, they do look nice.
I mean, they look nice. They're just not quite bright enough.
Left the spots up.
Yeah. She's got to take these out and put like a cool white in, because these spotlights are cool white. They're like a neutral white, and these are warm white. I think they're going to have to take those out and put a neutral white of those in, and that should make it a little bit more, because it's a bit too much of a golden colour, I think. In fact, you can see the difference. That back room is the same as these downlights. That back room is a neutral white, and it's just it's a lighter colour, which I think is what they need in here. But our job is done. I have to put different bulbs in, lamps, sorry. Yeah, that was the board that was here. It's only just been fitted. That was the beginning of 2019. This sort of goes back to that thing that I was on about with, I was saying on Fix Radio the other night. If you take an old board, you know, the old 3036 rewirables, well, if you take one of those boards and you take the cover off, not all the time, but mostly, they're old, but they are neat, you know. Half the time nowadays, you know, you get to a board like this, you know, you take the cover off, and normally as a standard, this is sort of it, you know. Let's be fair, half the time you take the cover off and you think, sod this, but put the cover back on and you drive off, you know. They're just a shit show. Now, is that just down to the speed that we work at nowadays? Speed, you know, price, we're chasing the dollar, or is it just down to training, that we're not being trained well enough? You know, people coming into the industry. It's worth a thought, because even on the old 3036s, you know, they never looked like this. And this is a very common sight now, you know. It just leaves a bit to be desired. One thing I did notice, I actually mentioned this the last time I saw one of these. I've never used the brand. I've never installed one of these before. It's a CPN Qdis, I don't know, but that's the brand. But it has got a really, really neat little light which just switches on as soon as you lift up the lid. It's a little battery powered light, but it's such a neat idea, because that to me is an example of just a manufacturer. I mean, I've never heard of that brand, but that to me is an example of it's a manufacturer who's just thought of such a simple idea, but it really, really works. Tick. Just come back to the fucking van, 2 more tickets. And people wonder why it's so expensive people wonder why you charge so much to do what you do here. It just costs an arm and a leg, and you can't do anything about it, you know. It's 200 quid. But what do? You know, you just bill it to the customers. It's a 2-hour bay, so you haven't really got a huge amount of choice. You just stay over 2 hours, you get a ticket, and yeah.